And welcome once again to the fact. Okay, now my damn microphone's actually recording. For those of you who don't know, when you're doing a webcam capture, there's a little colored bar on. Well, actually, it would be on your right. Okay, so yeah, this bar here that is going up and down as I'm talking. But yeah, it's to your right. And mine wasn't going up and down, so I have no clue whether or not it was actually recording the sound or not. In any event, in answer to the question, what did my post mean about it's a brand new day, motherfuckers? Well, here's what it is that I'm actually making a commitment to my life. As much as I've been wanting to get working on this helmet, various things have gotten in the way because like pretty much everybody in the house was struck down by a stomach bug at the same time, so I've been having to pretty much help take care of everybody, and then ended up getting distracted a little bit because of the way that this armor has changed and evolved from what it was originally going to be. And so I've been having to make the design changes and all. So this year for Dragon Con, I'll be bringing my helmet, but the rest of the armor will end up being for next year. And then by then I should actually have not only the Darth Vader done, but I should also have the actual Iron Man armor done as well. So anyway, what I'm doing right now on this helmet is all of the printer paper that is on this is actually going to be, as much as possible, I'm going to be pulling it off and then doing the doing the wood glue and everything to do the hardening. Although I could probably leave the printer paper on and it will soak through and attach to the thing. I actually kind of like having the bare surface, to work with, and that way I can do like any quick touch-up repairs and things like that I need to it. But ultimately, I'm going to be doing a there we go. And then it will be aligned a bit better and everything else. Ultimately, I'm probably going to be doing like alignment stops and maybe some magnets to actually keep it in place when I do the final revisions and everything else. But for now, that is my current project for the day, is to strip that down and get it hardened. I've also upgraded into getting a actual soldering iron. The one that I had, I couldn't find tips for. Radio Shack actually keeps the tips for this in stock, so I'll be able to replace it a hell of a lot easier. I'm not quite thrilled about how the actual soldering iron itself and the stand fit together. But it's really not that bad. The holder for it, if I'm not careful and I try to actually put it up too high before I put it down, it could actually touch the mat that I have on my desk. But as long as I just go and then the flare on the handle actually keeps it up enough to not touch the desk. But it's actually a pretty good soldering gun. I mean, it cost me like 20 bucks, and it actually came with this kit, which is a make-your-own little piano thing. And I really want to use the parts from it in my other builds, but I figure, it's a good, solid, practice project to start with, and so I'll be doing that. And, well, because I already took everything out of the package, that is what it is that I ended up getting. I actually like the fact that it came with a pair of wire snips. I had a pair pretty much identical to it, except that I also have a pair of long nose pliers that I keep on my desk. These are the long nose pliers, and my original wire cutters and this both have the same color handle. So now my wire snips actually have a the different color handles. So that way I can identify them in my little organizer that I have here on my desk. And so the soldering iron is going to come in very handy, because now I'm going to be looking at, this is the Joytech E-Grip OLED model. The original E-Grip did not have this screen or the adjustment collar, from what I understand. This actually has variable voltage, variable wattage, and then depending on what coil you have in, it obviously has variable resistance, but that's depending on the coil itself. The standard coils it comes with is a 1.6 ohm or 1.6 ohm coil. I actually keep mine at for those of you who can't see that very well, I keep it at 4 volts. Standard ego profile is 3.3 volts. So I'm doing a little bit higher than I was before, and I also keep a much wider air hole now, because I found out that it does actually give a better hit now. Yeah, I've never been a cloud chaser, but the volume of the vapor does give you the more nicotine, so I'm able to actually use this as a cigarette replacement now, rather than actually just vaping or whatever like a lot of people do. In any event, I felt that it was appropriate to get this because my battery was actually starting to run towards the end of its life cycle. I was having to charge it like every day at this point. This I can usually get into a second day, which is actually pretty decent. I think I'm actually managed to get into a third day before I had to recharge it, so far. But I actually felt that it was very appropriate because my biggest problem has been my ego, mine specifically, I should say. And I felt that it was time. The old saying, let go of the ego and get a grip. And so, when I actually saw this, I was like, yeah, it's time for me to ditch the ego and get a grip. And so, this is a very good symbol of that to me. Plus, I like the Iron Man red. But also, this is demonstrating a skill that I haven't really been able to use so far, which is to show foresight in things. This has a non-replaceable battery, which I'm not exactly thrilled with, but it's okay. There's some star bit screws, which I can get a star bit set, which is no problem. And when this finally does reach the end of its life cycle, which is approximately a year to a year and a half, is the general I've heard. But then again, I run mine at a much lower voltage than a lot of people do, so I may end up actually getting a bit longer. It has all of the components, which, as long as you have a good battery, then all the components are perfectly fine. So this will be a project in which, once this reaches the end of the life cycle, I will be attempting to convert it to a replaceable battery. And if that's not possible, all of the components that I would be getting for my Doctor Who Sonic Screwdriver e-cig mod would cost me about what this did. So that actually works out pretty good for me, actually. So if I haven't actually built my Sonic Screwdriver mod by then I'll be able to just try to use the components from this. The local e-cig shop that I go to actually has told me that if they come across any USB pass-throughs that are getting ready to be junked, they'll save them for me so I can scrap them out for components. That way I don't have to worry about screwing up the components to be able to get everything working. I don't know, I had a bit more ranty of a post planned, actually, because at the time I was very angry about a lot of things and deciding that I was just not going to have any more. Well, and then I realized that it's the time for me being angry at everything is past. The time for me to get pissed off about all the different stuff going on, it's a non-issue anymore. I mean, I'm over the things that I was angry at. I've got actually an entirely new list of things that I'm angry at, actually. I ended up actually getting in touch with somebody from my past. And I'm finding out a lot of things now that I should have known back then in terms of things people were saying about me and behind my back. And I'm piecing together what and who said what and everything else, and I'm going to let everybody know. Once I actually find out the truth, there will be a reckoning. I'm finding out that a lot of people who I trusted, a lot of people who their friendship is what kept me alive, but I'm finding out that some of the people who I thought were my friends were keeping me close for their own agenda, and the things that were being said behind my back well, let's just put it away. If you were not actually my friend, if you manipulated me, if you viewed me as a source of amusement, I know where a lot of skeletons are. I know where things that a lot of you don't know that I know. So be prepared. In any event, anyway, I feel much better having said that. I don't know, I'm looking at a lot of the things that have been bothering me lately. Some of which I realize are not that important, but some of them just really tweak my shorts. Somebody on Facebook, I didn't catch the name because I wanted to punch the screen when I saw this, but some fine, upstanding young gentleman decided to take a picture of him wiping his ass with the American flag. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, who know this guy, be advised, motherfucker. I hope I see you. If you are that person who decided to wipe their ass with an American flag and put it as your profile picture, you and I are going to have words, and you are not going to like it. In any event, I'm going to go get some more coffee. And after this video, my channel is going to be a lot more focused. It is going to start reflecting the things that I actually intended on it, and things like my progress build videos will actually have progress. I'll be learning screencasting, so that way I can show some of my design processes and everything, as well as to be able to start explaining some of the things that I'll be doing with my overall projects. I have made some alterations to my original rehabilitation plan. I found that the methodology which I'm using for myself is not as universally applicable as I was hoping it would be. Now, it is still very applicable for teaching the specific skills, especially because being able to do things like designing an Iron Man helmet or a car or whatever other 3D printable object, for example, being able to have the person actually envision this and actually create it so they have this physical object as the end result, as a motivator for learning 3D modeling skills, which could then be transferred from using my method as a starting point and then putting them into actual job training and whatever else. So we'll see from there. I do know that what I'm coming up with is going to be a very good homeschooling method, so I'm figuring out how to adopt it for that, to be able to use the finishing work for Iron Man armor, for example. When you're using the fiberglass resin, is a good way to talk about basic safety and everything, obviously, but exothermic reactions and stuff, how catalysts work and things like that. State changes and whatever else. So being able to actually teach high school level chemistry concepts to a 7-year-old using this, I think will actually help with STEM, the science, engineering, math, whatever, thing that was going on. And so, I mean, everything actually looks pretty good. I'm also going to be looking at doing some, some reward levels in my GoFundMe page. Which I have to actually make sure that it didn't go inactive again, because I had been focusing on other things and I kept forgetting to actually update the page. So we'll see. I'll take a look at that. But in any event, this time I actually am going to put the link to my GoFundMe page in the description. In any event, well, I mean, I was going to try to do 20 minutes, but screw it. I'm just going to cut this off because I've got other things to do. It's just, I am going to start posting on a regular basis again. Well, anyway, like I said, from this point on, my videos are actually going to have more of what it is that I actually intended for them to be. So, anyway, thank you for continuing to watch, and have a nice day. By all means, please, tell other people about it. If I said something you liked, hey, comment on it. If I said something you didn't like, comment on it. Let me know how I'm doing, because the fact is that all I can do is just sit here and talk and, blab my mouth into the freaking camera, take up bandwidth on uploads and everything. But it actually is important that I get the feedback, not because of my ego or whatever else, because as you've watched my other videos, I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I need to know what it is that I'm doing right, what it is that I'm doing wrong, because the feedback and the interaction helps me to improve the project that I'm doing. I will get into community involvement, the how to affect change in the world through everything you do, and a lot of other stuff that I've been wanting to teach people for a while anyway, which comes into play into what I'm doing. In the next couple videos, in one of them, I'm actually going to be actually talking about my philosophies and everything else. So I'm going to be working on the notes for those in the next couple days. But the feedback and interaction that I get from people is part of the process. I need to know what is on your mind, what you are thinking, what your evaluation of what I'm doing is. So, by all means, if I've offended you, let me know, and then depending on who you are, I'll work more into it, because I love how the special snowflakes just get up on everything. But if you've got a legitimate complaint, then yeah, I will deal with that too. In any event, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.